Hello everyone, in this video we're going to draw a grizzly bear. Start by drawing a circle as a guide for the head. An easy way to draw a circle is to first make a couple of small marks to indicate the circle's height, and then on the sides make a couple more small marks to indicate the circle's width. Then just connect the small marks using curved lines to finish the shape of the circle. The circle doesn't have to be perfect, but if you're having trouble drawing it, just trace the outer edge of a coin, a bottle cap, or anything else with a circular edge. To the left, draw a bigger circle as a guide for the front part of the body. Use the small marks method to draw this circle too. Don't overlap the head as you draw this circle. This circle should be about 1.5 times the size of the first circle. Sketch lightly at first so that it's easy to erase if you make a mistake. Also pause the video as you follow along to draw at your own pace. Farther left, draw another circle as a guide for the back portion of the body. Draw this circle slightly lower than the first two circles. Don't overlap the front part of the body as you draw this circle. Inside the head, draw a curved horizontal line for a construction guide. On the top part of the circle, draw a curved vertical line for another construction guide. On the bottom half of the head, draw a small circle as a guide for the muzzle. Pay attention to the size of this circle in relation to the head. The bottom edge of this circle should be outside of the head. On top of the head, draw two small arcs as guides for the ears. Draw the ears small in relation to the head. Under the front part of the body, draw two long vertical lines as guides for the front leg. Draw these lines under the left side of the circle. Make the top of this shape wide and the bottom narrow. At the bottom, draw a small oval-like shape as a guide for the foot. To the right, draw a long curved line as a guide for the other front leg. This line should be similar to a big letter U. Make this line shorter because the leg is stepping forward. At the bottom, draw a short curved line as a guide for the foot. Under the left side of the body, draw two long curved lines as guides for the hind leg. Make the shape wide at the top and narrow at the bottom. Draw a small oval-like shape at the bottom as a guide for the foot. To the right, draw an angled line as a guide for the other hind leg. And that's it for the guidelines. Now let's start on the final drawing. Inside the head, lightly sketch two small circles for the eyes. Place the eyes on top of the horizontal construction guide and on either side of the vertical guide. When you get the sizes and positions of the eyes right, darken the shapes. As you darken the shapes, make the sides pointier for the corners of the eyes. The shapes of the eyes should be similar to small footballs. Draw a couple of short lines around the eyes for creases. Inside the eyes, draw tiny dots for the pupils. Make the edges of the eyes thick and dark. Inside the muzzle, lightly sketch a small circle for the nose. Draw the nose close to the bottom right edge of the muzzle. Make the nose big in relation to the muzzle. When you get the size and position of the nose right, darken the shape. Make the top of the nose flat. Curve the sides of the nose in to create the nostrils. Draw small arcs inside the shape to create the nostrils openings. Draw a couple of short lines between the nostrils for creases. Darken the bottom edge of the nose, but make it pointier. Under the nose, draw a horizontal line for the mouth. Curve the side of the muzzle up toward the eye on the left. Draw a series of short strokes on the left side for the side of the muzzle. Follow the basic path of the initial circle as you draw these lines. Draw a long line on the right side for the outer edge of the muzzle. Under the mouth, draw a curved line for the chin. Use short strokes to create a furry texture. Darken the arc on the top left side for the first ear. Make the bottom tips of the arc longer. Draw a series of short strokes along the bottom for the furry base of the ear. Darken the arc on the right for the other ear. Add a few short strokes at the bottom for the base of the ear. Use the initial circle as a guide to draw the rest of the head. Follow the basic path of the circle as you darken the shape of the head. Make the sides of the head slightly wider than the initial circle. Use a series of short strokes to create a furry texture. Add a curved line that's made up of short strokes under the muzzle for more fur. Make the top of the head a bit taller than the initial circle. Use the big shapes under the front part of the body as guides to draw the front leg. Darken the outer edges of the guides to create the shape of the leg. Use a series of short strokes to create a furry texture. On the front part of the foot, draw a thin triangular shape for the first claw. Make the base of the claw curved and the tip thin and pointy. To the right, draw a few more claws the same way. Don't overlap the first claws as you draw the rest of the claws. Make the claws smaller the farther to the right they are. Darken the guides to create the rest of the foot. Use the shape to the right as a guide to draw the other front leg. Draw a series of short strokes along the basic path of the guides to create the shape of the leg. Draw a series of small pointy shapes along the bottom for the claws. Make the claws thin and pointy. The bottom of the foot should be higher because the leg is stepping forward. Use the big shape on the far left side as a guide to draw the hind leg. Draw a series of short strokes along the path of the guides to create the leg's furry texture. Make the strokes on the right slightly longer. On the front of the foot, draw a series of thin triangular shapes for the claws. Make the tips of the claws thin and pointy. Darken the rest of the foot. Darken the line on the right using short strokes to finish the other hind leg. Use the remaining shapes and lines as guides to draw the rest of the body. Draw the top part of the body slightly higher than the initial circle to create a hump. Use a series of short strokes as you darken the guides to create a furry texture. Make the back portion of the body slightly flatter than the initial circle. Don't overlap the leg that's on this side of the body as you draw the underside. Now erase the initial guidelines. The next few steps will be sped up so that the video isn't too long. You don't have to erase all of the guides. It's okay if you leave some behind. Redraw any of the final lines that you may have accidentally erased. Now shade your drawing. Shade lightly at first and gradually build up to darker values. For light values, push down very lightly on your pencil, then push down harder for darker values. As you shade, use strokes that go in the general direction of the fur. Curve the strokes along the shape of the body. The fur on the head mainly radiates outward from the nose. Separate the strokes a bit as you shade so that the white of the paper comes through and creates a furrier texture. Use darker values to create shadows. Shadows will give the figure more dimension and volume. Make the final lines darker to emphasize the shapes. At the bottom, draw a cast shadow using a medium value. Shading can be time-consuming, so be patient and take breaks. Keep shading until you're happy with the result. And that's it for the bear. Remember to pause the video to draw at your own pace. Also, please visit howtodrawanimals.com for more tutorials. That's how, and then the number 2, then drawanimals.com. If you'd like to support my channel, please consider buying my books on Amazon. I'll leave a link in the description below. Let me know in the comments what other animals you want to see me draw. Don't forget to leave a like and to subscribe. Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep drawing.